CS greetings, CS goers. I'm Extremes. South Africa's Thorin. Is there such a person? Does he exist? Is he roaming the streets free, preying upon innocent children? Ooh, that's got a strange connotation. Anyway, I've seen this term bandied about, used quite liberally at times. Thankfully, I've never been accused of such a thing, and I hope it never happens because I really don't like being compared to overseas personalities. But it is something I've seen used and asked in various contexts locally, on social media and articles, things like that, comments, whatever it may be. We seem to like using this term, so I thought let's break it down a little bit. Let's talk about this. As you can see, it's one of my first daylight videos, actually in the afternoon, right before I'm about to be casting. In fact, I probably shouldn't be doing this, but I'm doing it anyway because, well, I want to talk right now. And well, let's break this down. Thorin, he's one of my favorite, personally, my favorite personalities in the Counter Strike scene internationally. As a map veto specialist, you know, the guy who talks about the map veto on an analyst desk, there is nobody better. He's unmatched in that space. He's also unmatched as an esports historian, a guy who looks back at past tournaments. I mean, he can tell you about what happened at ESWC in 2008 or whatever it may be. There's nobody that equals him in that space either. Sure, his banter, you know, some of the stuff that he says, sometimes he wrecks people and it's hilarious, and sometimes it just gets a little grating because, you know, then it sort of just moves more towards being glib comments, and it can get out of hand at sometimes when he overdoes it. But generally, I love what he does. I mean, for me, my threshold for that is much higher than some other people. I mean, some people get really annoyed watching Thorin. 95% of the time, I love Thorin, love watching him, and you know, I also love hearing what he's got to say. As a YouTuber, very few people are at his level in terms of CS analysis. That's the kind of thing of where he's just sitting, like I'm doing, much like I'm doing now, with a camera pointing at his face, a microphone in his face, and saying, this is my analysis of this Counter-Strike situation, personality, player, whatever it may be. There are plenty as good as him, I'd say, at live events. I mean, there's Moses, who he actually does counterpoints with. There's Yanko, whose analysis is probably superior in some ways. There's a bunch of guys who are really good on the international scene. I really like Sponge as well. I mean, I'm basically describing everyone currently at DreamHack Las Vegas. Pretty much a dream team of desk analysis. But as a YouTuber, nobody can really touch him. I think his method of speaking, the way he speaks to a camera, the way he articulates himself, the way he projects his voice. I mean, it's something I've always struggled with. I think I sometimes sound a little bit disinterested in the way I speak. And I mean, if I hadn't worked on my voice, I'd sound a lot worse than I do now. I guarantee it. Go and listen to casts from a year ago. Of course, Thorin's not a caster. I am a caster. So, I mean, I know he has done it in the past, but there's a difference. I obviously can't deny that these videos that I do were definitely inspired by Thorin's content. I mean, when I first came into the CS scene, started playing and needed to understand things, Thorin's approach to breaking down topics and helping me understand it really helped me out. And I'm sure it's helped a lot of people out. I'm nowhere near his level, not even close. I'm not copying him. I'm just doing this because I've been a fan of his. I've enjoyed what he does, and I thought in South Africa we need somebody doing similar sorts of videos. Does that make me essays Thorin? Absolutely freaking not. Please do not call me that. It's not easy to talk solidly at a camera for long periods of time, as I found out. It's pretty hard, but I'm nowhere near his level, and very few people are. Neither myself nor anyone else should be calling ourselves essays Thorin. It's a term that gets thrown about too much. Decent analysis articles, general esports articles, videos, even crap versions of those very same things, whether it's good or bad, that person sometimes gets called, oh, is this essays Thorin? Well, no, you're not. If we were to try to be essays Thorin and just regurgitate his opinions, that's essentially plagiarism. One should not be doing that. Find your own voice as a person, either offering analysis, commentary, articles, whatever. Find your own voice. If you don't have something unique to say, there's not much point in saying it. Much less than just saying what Thorin said before. I mean, what is that? That's plagiarism. That's regurgitating his opinions. Sometimes your opinions and Thorin's might align. That's inevitable. You know, the fact that there's 6 point whatever billion people, you know, opinions are going to be the same, and they are going to line, and they're also going to differ. It's just inevitable. Just parroting back what he said, it's plagiarism. It is. Don't do it. In SA, nobody as an on-air talent, YouTuber, or writer has come anywhere near matching his achievements. What gives us the right to consciously compare anyone to this man? Why should we be able to call ourselves that, or why should you, as a layman, call somebody that when nobody in South Africa has anywhere near the level of achievements of this guy? I mean, we don't go back 10 years in esports for most of us. Some do. And well, power to you if you do. If you've been around since the dawn of time, maybe you're a DC player, let's say. Maybe you're somebody like Sent who owns Bravado. You've been around for a long time in the industry as a player, now as a team manager, been a coach, done all of that stuff. Does that give anybody the right to be called SA's Thorin? No. We don't attend international events with this kind of regularity. We don't put out the amount of content that this guy puts out. We cannot match what he does just yet. Of course, we can try, but we shouldn't be calling ourselves that. People in esports in South Africa like to talk openly or behind closed doors, bravely as it were behind closed doors, and equally bravely when it's out in the open. The doing tends to be lacking in quantity in South Africa. Not always quality, certainly. I mean, there's a lot of high quality stuff going out, and there's also a lot of absolute turd varnish. On top of a turd, steaming. There's a lot of that too. There's a lot of the middle of the road stuff too. I mean, there's quality and there's crap. But the quantity tends to be lacking in South Africa. We need to forge our own path. Cultivate our own unique South African voices. Let's create our own stars, which should obviously start with the players. The players should be the guys making the impact on the international scene, and they should be the guys, capturing the imagination of the fans and the public. But casters, on-air personalities, and analysis guys, they also are stars internationally as well. And I'm not saying this from my point of view. I don't really want to be a star. I'm a fat, bald guy. Why do I need to be a star? Look at me, man. Bad skin. What the hell? I'm doing it because there's a need and because I think I'm pretty good at it. But if you're in it to be a star, well, I don't know if the motivation is correct. I think the quality of the work that you do needs to be your focus, whatever it is that you do. Let's cultivate our own unique South African voices. On the international stage, we've got guys like Quickshots, who works for Riot, who does commentary there. Apparently he's pretty good. I'm not into League. I don't know. Some people say he's not good, but that's also subjective. As I said in my video last week, it's all subjective whether you like it or you don't like it. It's your opinion and you're entitled to it, as am I. Let's create our own stars. Stop comparing ourselves, whether it be favorably or unfavorably, to international personalities. Let's stop quantifying someone local's voice and their worth as a voice against an international personality. Let's stop saying whether somebody's good or bad based on, well, I'm using the Thorin example, but whatever it may be, whether it be a Dota personality, another Counter-Strike caster. I mean, people have told me I'm terrible in comparison to Anders and similar. Great. I'm going more for a Bardoff than DDK, I guess. I'm not going for anything, but whatever. Again, a lot of the stuff is subjective, but let's not quantify it versus overseas personalities who are not local, who are not here, who are not in our situation. We can learn a lot from them, certainly. We can emulate a lot of what they do in a structural sense and in an overall sense, but trying to directly copy other people, again, is plagiarism. Don't do that. Stop comparing local guys to overseas guys. Compare the quality, yes, but don't compare the actual person. So, oh no, my computer's freaking out a little bit. I hope this is still recording. Anyway, let's do our own thing on the local scene. Let's do it well. Let's do our own thing. Let's do it well. Let's do it often. And I can't stress the often, the quantity more than I've just stressed it, because really we're lacking in terms of quantity of content. Quality is there in a lot of cases, but quantity, please guys, if you're a content creator, whether you make YouTube, whether you write articles, whatever it may be, let's get that stuff out there. Let's build the local scene. Let's work together. Let's create our own voice. Let's find our own voice. Let's run with it, and let's do it well, guys. Appreciate your time. That's an axe, and it's a very, very fine axe. I'm an axe. and you can't make that sound about me. Hacks out.